But is anyone else frustrated by watching this congressional hearing? Because it wasn't just, a lot of times if you watch these congressional hearings, it can be very partisan. It could be the Democrats beating up the Republicans or the Republicans beating up the Democrats. And it gets to be theatrical almost. I call it theater. But today's presentation, it was bipartisan in nature. Both the Democrats and the Republicans were screaming out for her resignation. And people in our government, both sides, bipartisan, are outraged at how and why this happened. Mike, your final thoughts.
Final thoughts, Billy. Yeah, this is a total embarrassment. This is insanity. Everybody knows she's covering up. Everybody knows that she's hiding the facts. She knows a lot of this information. She doesn't want to give it out. For whatever reason, maybe she's been told not to. Probably she's been told not to. She was a Secret Service agent for 2 decades. She knows how the agency operates. She's been promoted, unfortunately, to her level of incompetence, what they call the Peter Principle. And we are, unfortunately, as the body politic, and unfortunately, President Trump are the victim, and also Corey Competentori, David Dutch, and James Copenhaver are all the real victims of her incompetence. And somebody's head has to roll for this, and that's really sad. The public knows it, but the government, faceless, nameless government, is just sitting behind the bureaucracy, and the bureaucracy will not ever take responsibility.
Mike, there is no way on earth that she can lead after this. There's no way. Just think of all the Secret Service, the great Secret Service agents watching this with her 30 or 40 supporters behind her, probably high-ranking Secret Service members, just basically stone-faced, because I can imagine what's going through their minds, too, as they listen to this, as this very proud agency that goes back, to the Abraham Lincoln days, being just eviscerated by Congress in a bipartisan way. And yet we all expect her either A, to get fired, or B, to resign. And the fact that it hasn't happened yet is also baffling to all of us. Phil, your final words.
Final words. I just want to address a question in the chat. It was directed to you, Bill. It was Alan G. It says, do they have radios to talk to the Secret Service at the local level, Sarge? We talked about that. There's supposed to be communication. However, we don't think there was in this case. Mike mentioned the victims, Corey Competentori, 50-year-old, shielding his family, was killed. What a shame. I think that some of the people in Congress brought that up today. David Dutch, 57 years old, and James Copenhaver, 74 years old, both recovering in the hospital. I'm unfortunately disappointed about the fact that we didn't have more time with Judy Powell, because she's a communications expert. I thought that's where we were going to go on the show. Unfortunately, she had some trouble with the internet, but I did learn a few things from her. I was never in the management level to get that type of training, but I think that she's a valuable asset for any police department, law enforcement agency, so you don't have to go through the embarrassment that the Secret Service is going through right now. Some of it is warranted. There was some screw-ups, yes, but the lack of information, the lack of communication, I think is taking it to a whole new level. A lot of stain is going on the Secret Service because of what Kimberly Cheadle did today. I believe that's Kimberly Cheadle, the Secret Service director. She could have answered a lot of questions. She decided to answer none. Basically, she answered none. And it's unfortunate. Let's just hope and pray that there are no more fatalities going forward with this election. We need to bring the temperature down a little bit. I don't think that's happening quite yet, but hopefully we could get through it. And, the Secret Service, they're a law enforcement agency. We don't want to criticize them, but we did point out some of the mistakes that we believe were made. Communication, one of the biggest failures. And, God bless the families of the people that were killed and injured. And we'll be reporting when more information comes forward, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Pat Ryder, who's on the screen in this picture here, he understands the value and the importance of crisis communication as the police commissioner of Nassau County. And we had him on the show last week with Edmund Hartnett, and Phil Grimaldi was on the show also. And he fears that because of the temperature across the country, i.e., the all of the riots and the the protests across college campuses in regards to Israel and Hamas, that this could potentially be a very violent political season going into November. And he's not wishing it, of course. He's just saying the temperature is up there, and it reminds him of the 60s, of when we had all the campus unrest. And we're hoping and praying that they could put this together and get the Secret Service back on track as one of the greatest security forces in the world. And I'm sure many proud agents that are in the Secret Service, they're still proud of themselves and their job. And you saw how brave the guys were that immediately came to former President Trump's aid and trying to save his life. And we don't mean to disparage them whatsoever, but this is a black eye and it can't be covered up.
Billy, I got to make a quick correction. When I was given those 10 things that I talked about, I said that he purchased 308 rounds. That's the rounds that the sniper team used. The rounds that he probably purchased, I don't know for sure, but sounds like a 7.62 round. I wanted to just make that correction. Somebody brought it up in the chat.
Yeah, absolutely.